A moment of silence for all the users that had headphones on. I do apologize for that horrible noise. And apparently Sega apologizes too, because that didn't turn out in the final product. Welcome to my Let's Play of Ristar. This is going to be the prototype of it because, I mean, people have Let's Played Ristar before. I want to do something different. I was thinking of just playing through the game and then pointing out the differences between the prototype and even the Japanese version. But then I remembered on my old account that I already did a playthrough of this, of the prototype. So I'm just going to combine all the videos together for one long Let's Play and point out all the differences. So this Star Goddess right here, she is exclusive to the Japanese version. She was cut from the International, and the story was different too. In the International version, the story revolved around Ristar saving his father, and his father's totally absent in the Japanese version, and it's more about just people in distress trying to defend themselves against Greedy. And being the prototype, they don't have any dialogue. They didn't put that in yet, and the title screen's a little different too. Planet Near. This was Planet Flora in the International version, so the prototype is heavily based off of the Japanese version. And a really big difference between International and Japanese is everyone's pissed off in the International version. Even Ristar. They made a lot of the sprites more angry looking, more tough for International, and the game is actually more cute and happy in the Japanese version. Like this enemy right up there that's flying was angry looking in International version. So I love Ristar. It's a really, really cool game. And I know some people call it Ristar, but I think the proper pronunciation would be Ristar because you're attacking with your hands and your wrists, and I think that was what the pun was. I don't know, Ristar sounds a little weird to me. But it's a beautiful game. It's absolutely gorgeous. It almost looks like a 32X game in my opinion. It kind of gives me like Knuckles Chaotix vibes because of how good it looks. It is more slower pace than most traditional platforms, especially platforms that you would find on the Sega Genesis, but I think it works. It's a really highly polished game. So a difference in the prototype, I think it just wasn't implemented yet, but when you go on the star handle and you charge up your star shot, you don't have any control over it. You can't move at all. And those gems down there that are spinning around, they were not in the final product. So normally you can just go on the star handle and easily and quickly get the treasure, but because you don't have any control in the prototype, I just choose to do it the long way by climbing up the wall to get the treasure. And I think in this playthrough, this is the only time I bother doing the special optional stages. They're not really useful. Even in the final product, what they will do is when you beat the game, for each treasure you get, they'll give you a password, and I know all the passwords by heart, so it doesn't matter. A neat thing about this game, again with the colors, is when you fight bosses and mini bosses, a lot of times the more damage they take, they change their colors, and I just love that. This game is so colorful and beautiful looking, it's great. And I'm like, don't care about hype bonus, and it's missing text, it doesn't say hype bonus. And this whole Valdi system thing was removed in International version, but it was kept in the Japanese version for some reason. This is my favorite level in the game. And this lizard, if you choose not to kill him, he has hidden animation, he'll jump back into the background. And I'm showing Ristar's idle animation. He is smiling and he's happy. And he's angry in International. I guess they didn't want it to be too cute for International audience. I don't know. I think it was really stupid that they made so many changes. Now, a funny thing you can do is when you grab these enemies, you can hold your grab button, and Ristar will kind of like, I guess, choke them. And this enemy up here was changed to a bat in International. So instead they have a flying squirrel in the Japanese version. But yeah, this level is really neat. It changes palettes towards the end, and I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Like Mushroom Hill Zone in Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my favorite level in any 16-bit game, and it does some palette changing shenanigans with the seasons, and it gets dark towards the end in this level. And there's all kinds of like leaves blowing, and this level actually reminds me of Mushroom Hill Act 2, so go figure, it's gonna be my favorite level in the game. Ristar is so colorful, it kind of reminds me of this thing called Lisa Frank from the 90s. I mean, if you're a girl, you'll probably know a lot about Lisa Frank. They had all kinds of stationery and school supplies, but they would always take like animals and they would be so cute and super colorful. And that's what this game reminds me of. It reminds me of like something I would see on a Lisa Frank folder from the 90s. The soundtrack is good too. And see right here, I have no control. At this stage in development, they apparently didn't let you have true control over the star shot. And right here, it gets dark, and you can see the boss in the background. You'll be fighting him in the next level. He's throwing berries at you. I think that's really neat when they do stuff like that. You can kind of see the story being told as you play. Here's another lizard that's trying to ambush me. Not this time. I played this game to death as a kid, to the point that I was so good at this game, I was able to beat it on super difficulty mode. And in that mode, you have as many lives as you want, but you have one-hit kills and there's no checkpoints, so you have to beat a level perfectly if you want to clear it. And we're going to be going to the first boss in the level, some random king of this planet that becomes possessed by a monkey. And I like how when the monkey attaches to him, his eyes he gets angry because he's possessed. This game is full of cute little details like that, which makes it so charming. I really wish this game had a sequel, and this kind of game seems like it would be absolutely perfect to be on, you know, the Sega Saturn, since that console was especially designed to have really good 2D. But unfortunately, this is the only game in the franchise, not including the Game Gear Ristar, which is also a good game. I should play that sometime. You do see Ristar in, I think, maybe a racing game, and I know he's a toy capsule in Shenmue 1 and 2, which is neat. In fact, that was the first toy capsule that I ever got, and I freaked out when I played that game. I was like, oh my gosh, I got Ristar! They put him in this game, that's so cool. And back in the day when I played this on the CRT, this sequence right here, when you clear a level, it just blew me away. It was so good looking for its time. And I had a really big CRT, so it looked great. I still think it looks cool. So we're going to be going to the next planet, and each planet has its own special color, so it's always worth watching the sequence. Planet Leoto, and that's not what it was called in the international release. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I forgot. I just know it was called something else. And they do a lot of really neat tricks with the palette, especially when you go deep into the water will actually get darker to signify that you're going deeper, and that's a really cool effect. See how when you go a certain point it gets darker, like right now. They did that in Echo the Dolphin. And a lot of people usually don't like the water sequences in video games, like for Sonic, for example. I usually don't hear people say that they like Sonic for the water levels, but I think this game did water levels really well. They did a good job with it. And the sprites are just beautiful. Everything is animated really nicely in this game. You gotta watch out for those lobsters, they try to ambush you. And I think those fish are missing sound effects. I think they had sound effects when they went out of the water in the final. So this mini boss kind of perplexed me. Do you see the little puddle to my left? It changes position every time the water floods everything. Well, it didn't that time, but it's gonna change, unless it doesn't change in the prototype. It's just there right now. No, it doesn't change. Okay, that's interesting. That's a difference. In the final product, that puddle to the left will just randomly change positions, and it doesn't do anything if you jump on it. Just okay, there. It finally changed position. Okay. I don't know. I always thought that was neat. And I don't care about bonus. Points are good if you want to get extra lives, but I played this game a lot, so I'm okay with that. What I did, I think, is when I originally played through this, I did it like planet by planet. I would beat a planet and then I would put the password, the level select password, to go to the next planet. I remember the level select password by heart, because it's super easy to remember. It's I love you. That's I love and then the letter U. Okay, that weird thingy right there, I don't know what it is, but those were not in the final product. I don't know what they're supposed to do, but they seem to disappear when I take out the seahorse. So that's interesting. I do remember that the currents don't really work properly, so when I get to the current part, I actually had some problems getting past it. Again, this is the prototype, it's not complete yet, but I still think it's fascinating to see all the differences. Okay, so here is the part with the current. I just remember it being a lot more difficult to get past. And there's no audio cue when there's gonna be like, when it's gonna push you completely back. And this is just really frustrating. And did you see that orange thing? I can't interact with it, but for whatever reason they got rid of that from the final product. You don't see those orange upside down guys at all. But I guess that makes sense because you don't see those guys at all in this level. So what would they be doing there? I don't know. And this is really annoying. I might actually cut until I get to the end because I remember this takes a while and it's just boring. It's not that I'm doing anything wrong, it's just not finished and it's not operating as intended. So I'm probably gonna cut and I'll be back in a little bit. Actually, I changed my mind. I'm not going to cut, I'm sorry. Because there, I got it. Alright. It wasn't, I thought it was going to take longer than that. Never mind. So this is neat. The water continues to ascend, and as it does, you can see the seahorse in the background. They're not activated yet, but as the water goes up, they get their color. And when they're fully colored, then they'll actually attack you and they'll come to life and they'll attack you. So basically how these rooms work is you need to find the enemy and destroy all of them so it will get rid of the barrier. These are my favorite enemies in this level because I think the shell is so beautiful. The big shell right here to the right, it's so pretty looking. And they do really good effects with the water. Like I said before, this game is just absolutely gorgeous looking. Oh, okay, so that's different. In the final product, when you defeat those giant squid thingies, they're gonna yield a star, which is health, and then 2 gems. And they don't do that in this version. So, oh, okay, this is unfinished right here. This void that I'm in, yeah, that layout's a little different compared to the final product. And I'm so close! Oh my goodness, I missed it. But yeah, this is just frustrating because it's not working as intended. And I think they actually are missing a few things to grab on. So yeah, this is just really frustrating. It looks like some of the tiles are misplaced too. Oh no, I missed it again. But yeah, this is boring. If you want to skip ahead, feel free. With the power of YouTube, just jump ahead in the video because this is boring and frustrating. I was definitely frustrated playing through this right here. And there's another one of those unused enemy guys. There we go, finally. Pretty close to the end of this level. So they definitely made it easier in the final product between fixing how the currents work and then providing health after defeating those shelled enemies. I'm just going over here to see if there's anything interesting or new. There isn't. It's pretty much the same. I'm just exploring right now, and apparently there's a secret there, big deal. I do think that adds to your technical bonus, but again, I mean, I don't think many people play this game for high score. Okay, and we're gonna be going to the boss of this world. It's a shark. It reminds me of gummy sharks. I don't know, there's like this kind of gummy that you can get that are sharks, and they're all like crazy colors, like blue and purple. He reminds me of a gummy shark. So he does a few things. He will bash on the pillar and try to knock debris on you. He summons other fish, he'll charge you, but he usually just charges at you. But I've seen him do a few different things in this pattern before. I think he's more or less the same in the prototype. He's pretty much working as intended. Oh wow, okay, that sounded really glitchy. And that's it. Got a shark out of water. I was just testing to see if he can damage you, because he can't damage you in the final product, so... And that's that. Oh, you know what else is missing, from what I can see? Usually when you defeat a boss, Ristar will go into like a really quick victory animation. He doesn't do that here. I think the round 2 clear thing is colored slightly differently. And after a water level, we're going to have a fire level. It's going to be called, I remember this one, it's called Planet Scorch, but it's probably called something different. Because this is, yeah, Onclove. Okay, so this is different. The way that these enemies are floating, they are, in the final product, they just go straight up, they launch straight up, so they changed that. So you have a little decoy Ristar, and you can put it in the the white spots are the trap triggers. Although if you get stuck without the decoy, you can still get out. You can just use your arms and break the cage. Those birds are so annoying. They will dive bomb you, and once they do, they'll pick you up and drag you into fire. So you're forced to take damage. Okay. And I know there's another bird thing here. I hope I don't get blasted by it. He's up there somewhere. And again, I'm avoiding those posts because they don't work right yet. But yeah, if you can get rid of the bird whenever possible, that's really useful. So right there, that little white thing, if you step on that, then it's kind of going to be timed because there's going to be lava that's going to rise slowly. But either way, this is really easy to clear. And I always have fun doing this part. It's fun swinging on these things. So for the little mini boss of this level is kind of a memory test thing. It starts out really easily and it's very intuitive. It tells you kind of what's going on. It even has the numbers for you. And one really neat thing about this game is Ristar has a lot of really cute idle animations that are relevant to the level that you're in, and they change based on the world. He gets hot and he kind of fans himself in this. So if you get this wrong, then there'll be like a screaming noise and then the lava below comes up and you take 1 unit of damage. So if you're playing it on the super difficulty mode, then you have to make sure that you have a good memory and you don't screw up because then you die instantly there. Also, yes, if you're not careful, you can run into those green enemies and they will damage you. Okay. I remember when playing this on the super difficulty, the one-hit kill mode, this level was really, really annoying. Because there's a couple enemies that can be really annoying to avoid. This guy's annoying, because you have to jump on him perfectly centered, like that, and kill him. Otherwise, you're going to take damage. This guy's annoying, and he looks a little bit different. They made him more angry in the international version. Because being kawaii, apparently, is not okay. But yeah, if you're bored and you like this game and you're curious, just look at sprite sheets. If you have the Japanese version, then look at international, and if you have international, look at Japanese. A Japanese version for the Mega Drive is pretty pricey. I've seen it go for like $200 to $300. I think this is cute, how you could use the elevator with your arms, and yeah, I totally screwed up there. I usually don't go this path. Oh, that's one cool thing about this game. Kind of like Sonic games, they usually have a couple paths that you can take to enhance replay value. However, there's not as many paths as, say, you know, a Sonic game. But it's still cool that they did that. Most platformers in the 16-bit days usually would be linear and wouldn't have too many paths that you can take. But this is one of the ones that went the extra mile and did have different paths that you can take. It has some really cute edge animations, and oh my gosh, I took a lot of damage. I tanked a lot, but I get through. 0. No height bonus for me. This is a pretty interesting boss. You can actually take damage just getting to him, and if you were to die against him, then it would just start you at this point. Which, I don't know, I think that's kind of weird. So you can actually grab up on those things and attack them like that. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it's useful to know that you can do that. He has different things. Looks like now he just wants to shoot me from above. He'll probably do something else. Let's see what he's gonna do this time. No, he's still just wanting to hang out in the top and be a jerk. But I got him. And I love how they change colors the more you damage him. That is so neat looking. It's such a pretty game. I think he's missing some sound effects from what I can hear. Yeah, he's definitely missing sound effects when his claws come up. And I haven't seen him do the sand attack. And that's a little glitchy. I don't know if anyone noticed it, but for like a frame, I saw part of the ground just appear briefly. And yeah, I don't know if he does it in this version, or maybe his pattern didn't choose to, I guess, do it, but he had this one attack that he throws sand at you, kind of like what he does here. Didn't see him do that. But this is pretty funny. It turns out that it was some mole that was in a giant robot. Yeah, he can't hurt you. So you have to give him a spanking to proceed to the next level. I'm just testing to see if there's anything different with him. There's not. So the next level is, I think it's called Planet Sonata or something, an international. It's the music level. It's kind of creepy because it uses the Genesis audio for voice effects. And I love the Genesis on the Mega Drive, but I'm even going to admit the Genesis doesn't do audio effects very well. Or at least voice samples. It sounds kind of creepy. But it's different and it's interesting. Yeah, Planet Nuos. Yeah, that's the Japanese name of this planet. And this is pretty neat. I think music levels are very creative. Oh, that's different. Okay, so you can't like grab them like I just did in the final product. And he would just go straight up. In the final product, he kind of lags a little and then flies away. So that's a change that they made. I guess they did it so it'd be a little bit quicker. This is a long level. And the fact that you have to manage the metronome and then you have to deal with these jerks stealing it from you, it makes it a long level. I don't know, it was one of my least favorite levels, but it's starting to grow on me. I think it's kind of interesting. It's definitely not the first music level. There's a game called Rocket Knight Adventures for the Sega Genesis, and it had a sequel called Sparkster. And they also had a sequel on the Super Nintendo, even though Rocket Knight Adventures never came out for the Super Nintendo. They had Sparkster, and it was still a completely different game compared to the Sega Genesis's Sparkster. And there's Ristar's idle animation he's rocking out. But anyways, that game for the Super Nintendo had a music level, and that was before this game. So I can't say that the music thing is super new and creative, but it's still cool. It's creative enough. I like what they did here. It's interesting. And yeah, he's just taking forever to move. And he flies away. So there's a debug mode hidden in this game, and if anyone's watching and like actually listen to what I'm saying, if you want to see the debug mode, leave a comment and I'll upload it. Basically, it's kind of like the Sonic debug mode. It allows you to do like a free roam with the coordinates, and you can just travel anywhere you want in the level, and it's interesting. And it's only in the prototype. They removed the debug mode in the final release. I'm trying to see if I can do anything with him, but I can't. When I look at the background, I think of Seattle, Washington, because they have the Space Needle. And, I don't know, I see like a bunch of Space Needles in the background. And this level kind of reminds me of Starlight Zone from Sonic 1, with the, I don't know, the lampposts and stuff. And this is annoying, like, if you're not careful, you can grab the bombs instead of the metronome. So watch out for that. But yeah, I don't particularly care for the voice samples in the Genesis system. I mean, music has never been the system's forte. However, depending on who's doing the music, it can still sound pretty decent. I like this game's music and sound effects, but I don't care for the singing in this game. I think some of the soundtracks would sound better without them. Now, these guys are funny. They have these deal-with-it glasses. They came from the future. I think it's neat how they have the trumpets for the lashes. Okay, so here, there's a secret, and I'm pretty sure I tested it here. Let me see what I do. Okay. I found this out in the 90s back in the day, that if you just hang out here... Oh, I don't do it! I didn't do it. I'm so sorry. Okay, so if you choose not to go to this boss, it's gonna play Mary Had a Little Lamb, and it's really weird. I thought I did it. I'm sorry, guys. Oh well. Go search for it. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. That they have Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's a hidden song. So do you see the little stars appearing on those birds? I think that's something that was only in the Japanese version. It kind of designates when those birds are going to attack you. And in the international, they took that out. So that makes it a little bit more difficult. Not that this boss battle is difficult by any means. So yeah, it kind of shows you when they're going to attack so you can telegraph it. And this is funny, this guy's like, oh, my birds are all destroyed. I'm out of here. And he just flies away without flying. He just floats off. And there I am again, failing at the height bonus, because I don't care. This level's neat. I actually like this level. It's very pretty looking, and I think it's a little bit more interesting than the previous level in terms of having a music theme. And this sprite was changed differently to make her look less feminine. They modified her chest, that area in the sprite. And that's kind of creepy because, you know, when I played this, I couldn't tell if it was a guy or girl, but it's clearly intended in the Japanese version to be female, so what is she? Is she throwing her kid at you? Like, someone needs to call, like, child abuse on her. That's screwed up. I thought this is supposed to be a happy game. You got, like, single moms throwing their kids at you. Okay, maybe I'm looking a little bit too much into it, but that's disturbing. I'm sorry, I gotta call shenanigans on that. That is disturbing. And yeah, when playing this on the super mode, the one-hit kill mode, this is a real bitch. Like, that was really annoying, the spike part. But once you get past that, it's not too hard. And I like the keys making different noises. But this level especially reminds me of the music level in the Super Nintendo Sparkster game. And there's a little shortcut if you can pull this off correctly. Let me see, do I do that? No, not quite. Well, it's possible with one jump to just get to the top, but I got like 75% up doing that. And I always jump when I'm on the keyboard because those guitars will rock out on you and damage you. And there I go, destroying the abusive mother. Yeah, I like the color scheme. The green and the red and the purple is cool looking. And yeah, screw you, hype bonus. I don't care. This is my favorite boss in the game. And this actually is probably one of my favorite bosses in the whole 16-bit era. I think this is so creative. If you go into sound test, this game has a sound test. The background is actually, and then the little birds and stuff, they're the ones that play the sound test music for you. So you're actually having a boss battle in the sound test area. And this bird is pretty funny. He thinks he's a good singer, but he's terrorizing everyone and destroying the chapel, or whatever this place is. And I'm like, what are you singing? I thought about it. I'm like, you're clearly singing Rebecca Black's Friday. No offense to Rebecca Black, but I could totally see this bird trying to sing Friday. Oh. And I like it when the bird changes color. It looks neat. I like the bird to the right. You can't see him just yet, but he's like, oh god, make it stop, please. It sounds terrible. But I think the bird boss is animated really nicely. And you want to get rid of him quickly, because what he just tried to do, see that feather? Those feathers will damage you, and he'll take up a lot of space on the screen, and then he'll dive bomb at you, and it can be really annoying to dodge. And I'm almost dead. Uh-oh. If I don't die. He's almost dead, too. One more hit, I think. Okay, good. And that takes care of that boss. Oh yeah, that's right. Sometimes you'll get extra life. Or an extra hit point, rather. And yeah, Ristar does not have his little I beat a boss animations yet. So next level is going to be Planet Freon, the token ice level. You can skip these sequences, but I never do, because I always think they look neat. And I like to see the different colored planets. Is this one blue? Yes, of course, it's an ice level. Why wouldn't it be blue? Planet Ilakiki. Yep, that's definitely different. Oh, and they don't have the little snowboarding sequence that is very similar to Ice Cap Zone introduction in Sonic 3. If anyone noticed, there was like a little blue star in the wall. That shows you, like, it's a secret. If you were to hit there, then a little treasure would pop up, and that was removed in the international version. And there's different paths that you can take. There's a top, a middle, and a bottom path. I usually take the bottom, but in this playthrough I went through the middle. So now we see the orange, I don't know what to call them. They don't really have official name. I just know that they work for Greedy. And that's kind of a lame name for an enemy, Greedy. What kind of mom would name their son Greedy? just call him Meanie or something stupid. But yeah, so right there, it shows you where the secrets are, and that's removed normally. And that guy's a jerk. He just kind of trolls you the entire time. Trying to spike you and stuff. Oh, that's a hidden animation, and that's also in the final release. If you hit the ice Ristar will kind of flinch and have like, ooh, my hands are cold animation. And this is really cute and clever. You have a snowball fight. And I like the background, it's the Northern Lights. And that sound effect's a little different when you're throwing. I don't know if this happened in this playthrough, but no, I don't think it did. But when I was playing against this guy, I once made a snowball and it turned into a snowman. And that's something that you normally don't see unless you look at Ristar's idle animation. He'll build a snowball. And again, that's why I don't mess with the star handles, because that's gonna happen. You can't control them. I thought the Northern Lights look really neat in that level in the background. Now this level is called Ice Cream in the international version. It's really neat, and it reminds me of Press Garden Act 2 in Sonic Mania. If anyone's watching and you haven't played Sonic Mania, please do yourself a favor and play it. Go ahead and buy it. It's fantastic. And failing so hard right there. Like, you gotta keep in mind, I used to be so good at this game, I could beat these levels without taking damage, so every time I take damage, I get a little salty. Just a little. And I don't know if you can hear that weird exploding noise, but that was not present in the final product, which is good. It seems like they cleaned up a lot of the sound effects. I have to beat up this poor snowman. I wonder who built him. That's weird looking. I don't think that's right. Oh, you know what? Okay, so I remember there was kind of a really big problem in this level at some point that you can clip through a wall and then you have to kill yourself. And I had that happen to me a couple times. They fixed that in the final release, but it was weird. It was like the programmers knew that was a problem because they put spikes inside the wall for you to suicide. So that's gonna happen coming up in a little bit, and I'll point it out. Which is kind of fun. Okay, so that fish just randomly came back because reasons. That's weird. And this is very frustrating because, again, all the currents don't really work right, and it just makes getting to places a lot more difficult. Unfortunately, they did okay, right here, I'm gonna clip through this wall. I'm trying to get this because I'm like, yeah, I need health. And I'm like, what? Yeah, this doesn't happen in the final product, and this is screwed up. And it's like they knew they screwed up because those spikes are there so you can kill yourself. You can't time over in this game, there's no time over. So it's smart that they did that, because that would be a hard reset if you're playing it on actual console, but either way, they did fix that in the final release. So you don't get trapped and forced to kill yourself. However, me being a curious person, I'm gonna go back there and check it out because I'm like, hey, that wasn't in the final product. I want to see what that does. I think I go back there. And this is so annoying. I hate these currents. I'm glad they cleaned it up in the final product. They're such a pain in the butt to deal with here. It's very random when the current's gonna push you back. But yeah, I think I go back because I want to check that out more, play around with it. Yeah, you can just clip through the wall and that's GG. Good game. Can't do anything but kill yourself. So I just kind of mess around with it. It's glitchy. I'm like, yep, time to die. Can't get out of this. Okay, and now I only have one life left, so obviously I'm gonna go ahead and beat the level now. I had enough dying to weird stuff. This is just annoying. I hate this. Ah. But yeah, the explosion noise is completely different. It sounds a lot better in the final product. But I think this is a neat level. It's a snow level that has ice cream everywhere. It's cute. Oh, look at the guy's eyes. They were spinning out of control. That's weird. They would normally just follow you. Yeah, they're following me now. But one was going crazy. I actually don't remember it doing that in the final product. And those guys you can't kill. The little porcupine-looking fish, or puffer fish. So you want to get through this without them crashing into you. Same with those guys, you just can't get rid of them. I'm just praying to God that I can get through this easily, and I did. And these gray guys, for some reason, they respawn. Most enemies, you kill them, and if you like go off screen, they're not going to come back. But that one in particular, if you fall down, he's going to return even if you killed him. And I guess that's punishment for not platforming correctly here. But fortunately, I don't have that problem, and I get through it on my first try. And that's funny. I got an enemy. And I go ahead and show the idle animation. There's the snowman I was talking about earlier. That's the best idle animation in the game. Making a snowman. Okay, this guy. His sprite is completely different. He's a snowman in International, but he's a cat in the Japanese version. And again, this is based off the Japanese version. And his sound effect is different. Normally he has like this weird chompy noise. And it wasn't... I didn't hear it. And this guy can be really annoying if you don't know what you're doing. Because he has a really big hitbox when he falls. And, like, I tried to avoid it, but now I'm stuck behind him. And what's gonna happen here? Oh, I get sucked up eventually. Okay. You know, I would imagine if you were chewing on a star, that would damage the person chewing on the star, because aren't stars super, super hot? Just saying. It's like, he can eat this, whatever, I don't know, are those pies that the guy's making for us? Like, he eats the pie that hurts him, but he eats Ristar, which is a star, and no, it's okay. Ristar's the one that's gonna take damage. I call shenanigans. So he's melting. I actually think the international boss battle makes more sense, because how is this cat melting? That doesn't make sense. Or maybe he's just... I don't know. I do think he looks cool as a cat. Now, a funny thing I'm going to point out is when you beat the game in the international version, the game kind of goes through all the bosses that you fought, and when they get to him, they forgot to change his appearance, and he still looks like a cat instead of a snowman in the international version. And I barely beat him. I think that's it. Yeah, I got him. And Ristar is... okay, no, he still has that animation in. Okay. But you see how Ristar looks now? How he's kind of angry? Like, that's how he normally looks in the international version. And now we are going to be going to probably my least favorite level in the game. It's not too fun. It's pretty frustrating. Wonderful. I think based on your rounds total, you'll get different phrases, I guess. Ooh, it's a dark purplish level. Planet Re-Rope. I think it's called Planet Automation in the international versions. Just a lot of these enemies are really annoying to deal with, and the platforming here is kind of janky. I mean, this is pure jank right here. Now, I remember playing through this the first time, the prototype. If you fall at a certain point, you're screwed. Like, I think you have to either... Yeah, you have to kill yourself, because you can't get up. Fortunately, I don't have that happen here. And there's supposed to be little anti-gravity, or, like, I don't know, slippers that Ristar will jump in. And those are absent here. You just straight up start swimming. Get my extra life, and I am one hit away from death, and I'm not even close to being done with this level. This is annoying. Gotta be very careful here. Oh, good. And I'm going over here because I usually don't go this way, but oh my goodness, that thing almost got me. I just kind of want to check it out. And this requires you to grab on and hold to these things so you don't fall and get grinded by the gears. And you can swing by pressing left and right. And this is a really weird level. It's like all techno and then they have pyramids. That's interesting. Oh, good. I need that. So you can use the star handle to crash through that, or you can just grab it. And this is the lowest part of the game in my opinion. I don't like this boss. It's very frustrating, especially if you're playing it on the one-hit kill mode. Like, this is probably the hardest part of the game. Because it's so long, and he has this one pattern that it's really difficult to tell what plane he's on. So it makes attacking him frustrating, and then you can get damaged by these green blobby things easily. There goes his idle animation. He's kind of looking around at the place. This is what I'm talking about. This part, I've never been able to really figure out. Like, I can't tell where he's at, so I just grab, like, shot in the dark, grab everything. And he's not changing colors. He normally changes colors when he takes damage, and he's just been green the entire time. And I'm having really good luck with him. He's usually really irritating. Like, this is irritating because you have to wait to damage him. And you just have to, if you don't hit him, then you just have to keep waiting for him to shoot stuff at you, and he's done. That went by really, really smoothly. And we're gonna go to the next level. Okay. So. This is another level that was really difficult to do if you're playing on the one-hit kill level. Or one-hit kill mode, rather. Because it's so long. And a lot of the rooms, there's a lot of hazards that can kill you if you're not careful. Especially that guy. He's kind of hard to deal with when he just goes all over the place. And there's some puzzles. Kind of need to just knock the platform and manipulate it. Nothing too hard though. But I do appreciate that this game kind of tried to change everything up every now and then, introducing a new element so it wouldn't just be a steel platformer. And it looks like they were missing a sound effect there when you get zapped into the background. And I'm just paranoid that I'm gonna walk into something because it's the prototype and I don't know if they have extra enemies. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this is not gonna be fun because this barely works. The star handles. Yeah, but I still get through it. I never noticed it until I played this on an upscaler, but you can see Greedy in the background. He's that weird bird-looking thing, even though he's not really a bird. This guy's a jerk. He's very aggressive in the prototype. What you want to do here is hit him when his foot is off the ground. That's when you can knock him. What he just did right there, that's so annoying. Because that kind of resets the whole situation, and I'm just desperately trying to knock him into the wall. I remember this being much easier in the final product, but fortunately I get rid of him, so we can keep going. And those things, if they crush you, yes, that's going to be an instant death. Avoid it. This game doesn't have that many instant deaths, but this is one of them. Makes sense. Getting crushed isn't good. So just carefully make your way around here. Not get crushed. And you can go to the next room. But I must say, Greedy, who is the main antagonist of this game, he sure likes his bling. This entire place is made of gold. This is weird. You have to pull down the, I guess the walls and try to find the crystal. And I got the right one. One time I pulled down the wall and I got one of those, like, weird green enemies that freak out all over the place. I think it's random. And that's different. There's supposed to be more of those star handles rotating, but there's only one. But I just ignore it, and I'm gonna just go this way, because I don't want to deal with star handles in the prototype. These are interesting looking guns. They're like turtle shell things with spikes on them. Must be a Mario fan, I see. I think of Spinies whenever I see a turtle shell. And I am not timing my jumps at all. I'm doing a bad job. I could be wrong, but I thought there would be another one on the wall up here. I don't know if that's a difference or not. Might be placebo effect, who knows. So what you want to do here is grab onto the star handle and just hang on while this avalanche of greedy minions fall everywhere. Until the crystal appears. Now that's really interesting. I didn't even put the crystal in the slot, and yet it worked. I think that's a difference. I'm pretty sure you have to do the crystal in order to go anywhere in the final product. And that's screwed up. And they didn't even fix that in the final product. I think that star handle is on the wrong layer. And that's something they didn't fix in the final release. And yeah, I screwed this up, don't care. Using my invincibility frames. I'm gonna go ahead and try and use the star handle. And it works. It works pretty well. Yay! Okay, now we're gonna go to the boss. Yeah, I cut because, like I said, I put the password in whenever I felt like playing. Okay, now this guy is actually quite more difficult than the final release. He's more aggressive. And he's missing a lot of sound effects. Like, he would be saying ow ow whenever you attacked him. He doesn't do that here. And he's gonna use this one move and the sound effect's completely different. But he's very aggressive. And listen. Yeah, that sound effect is not used in the final release. They use a different Kamehameha sound effect, I guess. I mean, that's what he's doing, right? But he doesn't get knocked down as much in the prototype version, so you have to really be on your toes, because he's very aggressive, and that's so difficult to dodge when he charges at you, because Ristar's slow, and his jump isn't very good. But I managed to take him out. And again, there's missing animations, but we're start reacting to what's going on, and there's missing sound effects here. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same as the final product. And I'm trying to see if they include him in the spaceship. I don't think they have him in it. So in the final product, there will be an extra sprite in the background showing that Ristar is chasing after those two enemies. And they're not here, so that's another change. They didn't put that in yet. And this planet has some problems. It is super dark. And this is Greedy's castle. And right off the bat, we're missing a sound effect when you crash into the wall. This is an interesting castle. It's all like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of a techno tower from Knuckles Chaotix. Just weird looking. And yeah, I'm gonna just climb up this way, because star handles don't work very well. They don't work yet. And Ristar is so good at grabbing things, why doesn't he grab the camera that's spying on him? I don't know, just saying. So I go up here to see if there's anything different. There's not. And now, we're gonna fight this guy who likes boomerangs. And he's missing some sound effects. He normally giggles at you, and that noise he's making when I damage him, that's different. He had some, like, vocal sound effect, and those beams are really annoying. They're hard to dodge sometimes, because they home in on you sometimes. He does have a name. I forgot what it was. It's a really bizarre name. So when he charges up his gun, the idea is to time it so when you hit him, you ricochet and you go over the blast. And he's... ugh. A lot of stuff on screen. You can get rid of the boomerangs by grabbing them, but sometimes I choose not to. I barely make it. And again, he's missing a sound effect when you destroy him. And here's the final boss in the game. And there's Greedy just hanging out. Okay, that's really funny. So when he summons these little orb things that shoot stars at you, it has a sound effect. It is actually from Sonic 3 Knuckles. It's the little gravity sound effect that you hear on Death Egg Zone. And I think it's funny that a sound effect that's missing, they've later put in a sound effect from a different game. Rush Job, maybe? I don't know. I think it's kind of funny to hear Sonic 3 Knuckles sound effects. So, a really, really useful thing to know is when you start shooting these things, if you manage to grab one, it's going to yield a star or a hit point, so that kind of gives you a little bit of cushion in this fight, which I didn't manage to do yet. But an important thing, there's actually a glitch. If you attack him when he has his claw out and he takes damage, then he will just go like apeshit. And he will be launching things at you while going into his other pattern, and it's just really difficult. It's almost impossible to win at this point. And just really annoying to dodge him. But yeah, you don't want to get sucked into this black hole, but wow, I finished him so quickly, he didn't even have a chance to do the black hole. But yeah, black hole is instant death. So a pretty big difference right here is normally the game at this point would go into a cutscene. Which... what is it doing? Okay, so it's going into a cutscene, but I still have control over Ristar. Which is weird. Normally you don't have any control at this point, it's just an automatic cutscene. And that star handle is glitchy. I guess there's too many sprites on the same plane. They do correct that in the final product. And so you are required to manually trigger the final ending. That's different. This entire thing was just an automatic cutscene. And the final product. And there was another audio effect that wasn't put in when Ristar says, Hasta la vista, baby. And yeah, this ending isn't quite finished. He's supposed to be on the top and the bottom. And he kind of dances to the music. But otherwise his ending, it's complete. Mostly. But no, I think it's fascinating playing. This was one of my favorite games of all time, and it's one of my favorite games on the Sega Genesis. So being able to play the prototype was just fascinating to me, because it kind of gives you a look into the different stages of development and, you know, what they were doing with the game. I also played through the Sonic 3 Knuckles prototype as Tails, and if you guys enjoyed this, I can upload it and do commentary and point out differences. There wasn't too many differences in that one, but still, just having any kind of prototype of a game that I grew up with, it's such a joy to play through and see. And this is my favorite part of the song, and that picture right there with him fighting the bird, that's my favorite picture. I love this ending. I thought it was absolutely remarkable that they had special pictures showing what happened to all the worlds that you rescued. And right there, that's what I was talking about earlier. In the final product of the international release, they forgot to take his ears out. He's supposed to be a snowman, but he's still the Japanese cat. And it looks like Ristar made friends with that guy. He grows to respect Ristar, I guess. Effect Programmer. Yeah, they cleaned that up in the final product. Those kind of look like Puyos on the right. Just saying. You never actually see them, though. This is really impressive. This thing right here, for the Sega Genesis. Apparently in the Japanese version, there's a special code that you can put in, and you can actually control this rotation thing. I don't know why they removed it from international, that's too bad. There's actually a lot of codes that or like pass codes that you can put in, the Japanese version that they took out of the international. Which is kind of disappointing. Recently they made a port, or like a mobile version of this game, and it's based off of the international version, and I was a little disappointed. I thought it would have been really neat if they had an option to switch between the Japanese and the international version, because then you would get the different sprites. But they didn't do that. I still bought it though, to support, you know, vintage games. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my Let's Play. I just wanted to, you know, point out all the differences that this game has. And it is one of my favorite games of all time. Oh, it says version beta. That's cool. I will be doing more Let's Plays in the future. Thank you for watching. I think there's one more change coming up ahead. Thanks for your playing. By PJ Ristar. So the ending's different, because the story's different depending on what region. Normally you would see Ristar say, "Dad!" and you see this giant Ristar, because he rescued his father, but in the Japanese version, this is what the ending looks like. You got Greedy on this planet looking at the constellation of Ristar. Okay. Thank you for watching. Bye.